was in 1920. When they built that village, all the construction workers